Hey guys, what is up? Kevin Cage back with another daily cryptocurrency video. Like and sub if you like what you see, and let's get right into the information today. So to kick things off, shared by Val, 5 links, INX, it's confirmed Thailand's largest commercial bank using Ripple to power cross-border payments platform. And I know we've been familiar with SCB in Thailand officially using Ripple, the private company, and becoming, going on RippleNet and utilizing the cross-border payments. But again, there's additional information with this. As we can see here, SCB Thailand officially using it, big deal. But again, now they're actually using it through Easy Pay, their application, which is good to see. It often reminds me of the MoneyTap application that we see in Japan, utilized by banks for peer-to-peer transactions for actual instantaneous settlement as well, which is what we'll reach utilizing XRP. As of now, though, they are only using XCurrent. Previously stated, for now it's using Ripple's payment messaging system XCurrent and not powered by XRP powered XRapid. But remember the plan for Ripple. Remember, XRP is the secret sauce of the company, and this is what they're actually migrating towards. They're still looking for more regulatory clarity for banks to be able to buy and sell XRP on the order books. But again, there's always legal walkarounds, such as utilizing big players in money transfer services like MoneyGram. And it's my belief that, in the next year or two, it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Western Union actually signing on to be, on RippleNet and eventually utilizing XRP as well. Probably much faster than we see, because again, MoneyGram stock has been skyrocketing. I know the price of XRP is just kind of hanging out for now because we know the speculation coming Q4. But again, Western Union still needs to compete. They are ahead. They're number one. And MoneyGram is the world's second largest money transfer service, but they're getting that competitive edge and moving quickly. So again, they will have to decide. And so why did they look at Ripple? Because we saw that it has a customer-centric capability. It was giving customers what they wanted, not what we as a bank wanted to push. With Ripple, we found a way and a partner that could actually work with us in a very different way. We've got an aggressive ambition. We want to do things differently. We want to really change. We don't see a bank being relevant to its customers in the next 5 to 8 years. In fact, my personal view, not the bank's, but my personal view is it's going to be very hard for a bank to exist in 5 to 8 years. There will be a product behind some other brand. And I would tend to agree. Keep in mind, this is speculative, but I absolutely think that this financial system, the banking industry, is going to disappear. There's going to be a lot less of the actual physical franchises of banks in your city, whereas it's going to be going online. It's going to be, migrating during this shift towards the Internet of Value. Next up, I know this has gone around, so I'll be super brief with this, but again, this is a really cool diagram of Ripple strategy by Mark_Phillips. Definite follow here on Twitter as well. And basically, keep in mind, this is created by him. It is a little speculation, but as Brad Garlinghouse has confirmed, they always say they want to crawl, walk, and run in terms of Ripple's business strategy. Now, crawling, we're actually seeing where we're at, and Brad just admitted that they're still in the crawling phase, but we're beginning to transition to the walking phase. So as we can see here, we can safely assume crawling would mean establish relationships with the financial institutions and governments, work with regulators for regulatory clarity, which I believe has already been, basically on the back end has already decided that XRP is obviously a utility token. A lot of Bitcoin maxis and people that don't necessarily see the documentation, if you actually saw the definition of a utility token, you'd understand. Again, the state of New York has already classified and allowed XRP to be traded on Coinbase. We already have the regulatory certainty for that and the clarity. It's not going to be an unregistered security. But again, there still has to be some further definitions for banks to be able to buy and sell XRP on the order books, because I believe that banks will begin to custody these assets, just as the CEO of Ripple has predicted. And a lot of his predictions have already come true. And I'm still excited for what's to come. Again, establish payment corridors. We want to gradually do that. We need more and more countries to become XRapid partners and have XRapid partners there, therefore allowing more and more corridors. With that, there's a higher amount of money moving between that, more, greater liquidity on these order books. The spread becomes tighter. When there's a tighter spread in these order books, these corridors actually become more efficient, making XRapid actually be able to save that amount of money that it's quoted to save, that 40 to 70% in savings. That's significant. But you have to slowly scale it up. Again, create partnerships with governments, financial institutions, NGOs, central banks, contract for escrowed XRP. I believe this is still speculative, but it is a lot of people's belief that the escrowed amount of XRP will not just be for Ripple to hold long term. They've said time and time again that they want to expand the XRP ecosystem. Again, so walking, we'll probably see more users to Xcurrent 4.0, start new Xcurrent users on 4.0, and Xcurrent 4.0 actually allows you the option of utilizing XRapid, which uses XRP, we know that, and then running. And this is still speculative, but again, this is basically what they've all been saying the long-term goal is. People like, Galgatron, some people have said this is complete hopium and wishy-washy. That's fine, to each their own, but again, this is still a speculative market, and Ripple has literally said a lot of these things that are their goals. They're in conversation with 40 to 50 central banks and governments. I mean, hey, I'm studying the fundamentals, but combining some speculation with it. Because at the end of the day, nobody truly knows, but I'm following the facts. I'm following the large money. $200 to $400 million in institutional money is coming into Coinbase alone, a single exchange per week to buy cryptocurrency. I'm bullish. International Monetary Fund, again, I want to cover that as well. We have all kinds of interesting things. All right. Next, XRP Crypto Wolf. The great news about this is Brad Garlinghouse and Alex Holmes. Alex Holmes, again, is the chairman and CEO of MoneyGram, the second largest money transfer service in the world, utilizing XRapid, signed a 2-year strategic partnership with them. They both stated they'll be ramping up the volume for XRapid, which uses XRP, with MoneyGram in Q4, which is coming up quickly. This means it'll drive up the volume for XRP, so depending on the volume, it could actually cause an increase in XRP's price. Absolutely, time and time again, whenever volume increases, typically the price increases as well. As we can see here, we got Brianne Madigan, and she is Global Institutional Markets at Ripple, and she was formerly at Goldman Sachs. Notice how Ripple, this private company, a unicorn company valued in, well over $1 billion, gets the best of the best from Goldman Sachs, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, you name it. And as she says here, data shows that although overall XRP trading volume was down recently nearly 65%, the XRP pair of XRP and the Mexican peso volumes on Bitso went up more than 25%. During that same period, MoneyGram payments into Mexico using XRP went live. A real use case driving real volume. And keep in mind, guys, we have not seen anything. We are in the crawling phase. They still have to test. They're using very, low value payments and high frequency. And it's going to, become higher and higher frequency, increasing that volume and allow exactly what I just explained in tightening that spread, making the corridors, each corridor, such as, Mexico or the Mexican peso and XRP, much more liquid. We need a liquid market for XRapid to survive and thrive. And they say this time and time again. XRP Crypto Wolf, the National Central Bank of Rwanda, hopefully I can say that, Rwanda, I don't know how to pronounce it actually, is researching ways to issue its own digital currency. They want a digital currency to improve transactions and boost economic growth, just like every single central bank. And it learns from other nations' central banks like Canada, and we already know from all the information that's been released about Canada, they are already, completely tight with Ripple and the XRP ecosystem. We got the Netherlands, and then Singapore, and we know Singapore, the Singaporean dollar is a huge corridor that Ripple is targeting as well. So not surprised, we're going to see more and more central banks, more and more countries talking about their own digital currencies. Again, a walled garden, native currency. They still need a bridge asset, XRP. And lastly, we'll finish here. This is Luke Thomas at Luke E. Boy on Twitter. Toward the end, he says, and again, this is like a 2-minute video that I watched. So towards the end, he says, we may need a central bank to manage crypto. Probably it might be the International Monetary Fund, IMF, or the World Bank. Let's see what he reveals at Ripple at the Swell event in Singapore. And again, Swell is going to be at Singapore this year, and I just talked about Singapore. Connections within connections. And so what we see here is this gentleman's talking about this, and basically, as we can see here, ex-RBI governor and ex-IMF chief economist. Very, very smart guy talking about traceability with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin being good for the economy, bad for central banks. Talking about, for the central bank, the decentralized ledger of these transactions, again, it can be, a good and bad thing. He talks about the pros and cons. And, of course, on the decentralized ledger, these transactions are updated independently. They're verified. They're not dependent on trust or trusting a central party. And there will be competition between the decentralized types of assets versus centralized, and it's happening right now. And the one that's going to win will primarily be based upon transaction cost. But there's also other factors and benefits of blockchain that we're well aware of: security, scalability, authentication, you name it. And as he says at the end, he says setting up a central bank to manage the currency or cryptocurrency. And now this is where it's really interesting. This last picture of Christine Lagarde's actual speech, the IMF speech. Again, Christine Lagarde is the CEO or chairwoman of the International Monetary Fund. And right here, she says this: what if instead central banks entered a partnership with the private sector? As soon as I hear private, I think of, one of the largest private companies, Ripple, in which she talks about all the time. Banks and other financial institutions, and said, you interface with the customer, you store their wealth, you offer interest, advice, loans, but when it comes to transact, we take over. This is why a lot of people are speculative with even Mark Phillips with this diagram right here. Look at the central bank's contract for escrowed XRP. This is a lot of people's belief to utilize the escrowed amount and really help with the liquidity crisis that we're seeing globally. But again, this is all speculation. You can call me, a hype, but I'm just showing you what the International Monetary Fund director is actually saying. And she is tight with Ripple. It's well known. Her and the CEO of Ripple talk all the time. They're on panels together. I just don't know what other cryptocurrency or digital asset projects are doing this, and this is why I am so bullish on Ripple for long term, and there's a plethora of reasons that go along with that. But I'm going to cut it short. Hopefully that wasn't too long of a video for you guys, and I'll get working on another short one to put on the schedule to upload another day. So with that, guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.